But I'd like to share with you folks the secret to influence if you're up for it. Would you like to know the secret to influence? Like how you could get just about anybody to do just about anything. Wow, right? I'm into this. I'm like into this. The secret to influence. You're going to promise me you're going to use this to grow your real estate business, right? Like straight up pinky promise? Pinky promise. That's what this is for. This is just for you growing your industry business, right? Got it. Is the secret to influence lies in our knowledge of one word. It's one of the most overused words in the world of business, and we're going to put it up on screen here right now. It's this one. And it's one of the most overused words because people don't understand what the word means. When I help you understand its etymology, this is going to click for you. See, this word is created from the forcing together of two words. It actually splits right here. The first word comes from the Latin word motivus. Modern day translation is the word motive. The Asian part of the word comes from the word that we know as action. Those are the two words that are forced together to create the word motivation. Let's push this one level deeper. If somebody had a motive, what's another word for a motive? If they had a motive, they had a... That'll do. And if somebody's going to take action, what it means is they're going to move, or it means they're going to do something. So all that is meant by the word motivation is a reason to move. Would it be fair to say that if the reason was big enough, you could get just about anybody to do just about anything? If the reason was big enough? Now, whose reason matters more, yours or theirs? That's the secret to influence. Find their reason to move. And this is true in every industry. And it's particularly true in your industry. Like it could not be more literal. Right? Find their reason to move. Did you know there are only 3 reasons anybody moves to do anything? This is why I needed the extra 15 minutes. Okay, 3 reasons anybody moves to do anything. Okay, one is they move to become more comfortable. 2 is they move because they're uncomfortable. They run away from something. 3 is they move to do things for selfish reasons that light them up inside. That's it. You move to become more comfortable, you move because you're uncomfortable, or you move because it matters to you, you and only you. Do all 3 of those forms of motivation work? Right? Do people move to become more comfortable, yes or no? Yes, they do. Some of the people, some of the time. Do people move when they're uncomfortable? Yes, they do. Interestingly, more of the people, more of the time. Do people move to do things that matter for them, them and only them? Yes, they do. All of the people, all of the time. So does this help? A little. It helps a little. I'm going to try and see if I can help make this more literal. And I got this little conference chair here. And this is not a conference chair. I want you to imagine that this is a chair in your home. I'd love you to imagine that you've just spent 2 days at a convention. You stayed out a little longer than you normally would. You got up a little earlier. You played a little more all in than you normally would. You're a touch exhausted. And you're traveling home from the convention on the flight. You're still wearing the clothes that you traveled in. You step back into your house. And you see this chair. And this is not any chair. This is what I'm going to call your comfy chair. And the reason I know that this is your comfy chair is because it has a perfect butt-shaped imprint in it that you've been working on for quite some time. You look at this chair and you're the most decisive you've been in the last few days. And you look to the chair and you think, I am going to sit on you. And you give it everything you've got. And then you start to think. You start to think, you know what? If I go get myself changed, maybe take a shower, I'm going to be so much more comfortable. I know it. I will. Not a doubt in my mind. That'd be amazing. I'd love that. So good. So good. I mean, what if I lay out this way? Woo-hoo! That'd be a game changer. But you know what? This right here, this is fine. Am I right? What is it that gets you off the couch? See all those things that you're thinking there right now? They're all true. They're all true. Dinner's ready. You're going to put the garbage out. Geez, that hurts. Right? These are the things that get you off the couch. But if you want to understand your job description, it's to get people off the couch. Indecision is your enemy. How many times do you share with somebody like, the reason you should buy right now is because if you do wait for interest rates to drop, then what will happen is that'll drive more compression into the marketplace, so prices will go up. So although you think your payment will be higher or lower, it probably won't be, it'll probably be higher. And you said that you wanted to be able to own the house at some point anyway, so you probably want to buy now and use your buying power. And they're like, no, I agree with you. Not a doubt in my mind. That sounds amazing. But we're kind of comfortable in our rental right now, and we're going to just sign up for another year because we're fine as we are. True or true? The mistake that most people make when they're looking to try and influence other people is they only use one of the levers. They say things like, if you move right now, you're going to be so much more comfortable. They say things like, if you move right now, you're going to get away from that discomfort. Or if you move right now, you're going to be so proud that you finally became a homeowner and you're starting to live that American dream. We pull on one of the levers. Nobody said you only could use one of the levers. You could use all three. You could build a cocktail. And if you give somebody something to run towards that would make them more comfortable, you show that you know what they want to run away from that's making them uncomfortable, and you help them realize at the end of all of that, it's going to be worth it and it lights them up inside for selfish reasons in the best possible way. How much easier is it for them to move? That's the gig. Does this make sense in theory? Yes. How do we make it work in practice? We use some words. Let's see what words we can use. Well, firstly, a decision's made on emotional logic. Trick question, true answer is both, but which one comes first? Has to feel right in here before it makes sense up here, correct? Has to feel right in here before we make sense in here. And I'll just check that for a second, make sure we're all on the same page. Who in this room is married or has been married? Day you asked the question or had the question asked of you, is it because the person you were looking at met your multi-point inspection checklist? Or did it first just need to feel right at the time? We make some of the biggest decisions in our life based on what feels right. The trouble is, to trigger a feeling, you have to have done the thing to get the feeling. You have to do the thing to get the feeling. What if I could help people experience a feeling before they've done the thing? Would that be useful? Yes. This is utilizing words to create what's called a future conditional feeling. A simple frame of a future conditional feeling are these words. They're the words, how would you feel if? Now let's use what I learned about the secret to influence. I could say, well, how would you feel if you had a place of your own and you had the extra space that you needed and that you were just living with more comfort in your life? They'd be like, I'd feel amazing. Well, how would you feel if you got stuck in a rental for the rest of time and that you were paying somebody else's mortgage as opposed to your own? I'd feel pretty freaking stupid. And how would you feel if by us working together that what you managed to be able to do is to put yourself into a situation where you are owning your own home, you are building equity, you are creating a legacy for your family, you're doing something that would make your daddy proud? How would you feel if that was true? Man, I'd feel awesome. There's trouble here though, right? If I said, how would you feel if, how would you feel if, how would you feel if, that would sound like I'm leading the witness. It would sound uncomfortable. It would feel uncomfortable. What if I give you another tool? We need to borrow some basic brain science first. Did you know that every decision that every human being has ever made has been made at least twice? I repeat, every decision that every human being has ever made has been made at least twice. We first make decisions hypothetically, in our mind's eye. Ever said the words to yourself, I cannot see myself doing that? It's a literal thing. If you cannot see yourself taking an action, the likelihood of you choosing to take that action in real world, slim to none. Therefore, if I can get you to see yourself taking an action before I invite you to take the action, chance of you taking said action significantly higher. Catching that piece? Also, when it comes to making decisions, we have a key point of reference. The key point of reference we have for making decisions is something called our memory. Our memory is like the world's biggest Instagram account. There are a gazillion photographs up here. And when we're looking to make a decision, we shuffle the deck of photographs, looking for images that can help provide data and information to inform the decision I'm being asked to make. The slightly awkward question for me to ask of you right now is this: how many of your memories actually happened to you? It's an awkward question because the answer is not all of them. Many of your memories became memories not because of experiences you lived through, instead because of stories that were shared with you. And those stories created images that you've reseen over time, that sometimes you have to second guess, did that actually happen or not? Yes or yes? Yes. What else do we need to understand about decision making? There's a period of time in our life that we learn quicker than any other point in time in our life. Scientists cannot agree on date range, but they all agree it's when we are children. Let me try and bring all this together for you. The secret to influence is to find their reason to move. There are only 3 reasons anybody would move: to do anything, to run towards something, to run away from something, to do something that would make their heart sing. When it comes to making decisions, we first make decisions in our mind's eye, hypothetically speaking. We have to see ourselves doing something before we choose to do it. When it comes to making decisions again, our reference point is our memory. Our memories become memories from either experiences we lived through or experiences that were shared with us in the form of a story. A story will always sell, whereas a fact will only tell. And we learned quickest when we were kids. You catching all of that? How did a child know a story was coming? What were the magic words? Once upon a time, right? You say the words once upon a time to a child kicks back in the chair, opens up the Instagram account, says, gimme, 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 this is going to be good. You cannot use the words once upon a time with a prospect or a client or a teammate and get the same results. You can, though, use the grown-up version of the exact same sequence of words. And the grown-up version of the exact same sequence of words are the words, just imagine. What kind of pictures do I now paint? I create pictures they want to run towards, pictures they want to run away from, pictures that would make their heart sing. Hey, just imagine how much more comfortable you'd be when you've got a space that's big enough for the family to breathe. Whew. Hey, just imagine what happens if you don't make a move and you don't become a homeowner and you find yourself renting for the rest of time. Ooh. Hey, just imagine how cool it will be that by us working together, you will start to build equity and start to control your financial future and perhaps start building wealth that means you can leave a legacy for your loved ones long into the future. Whoa, dreamy. But if I said just imagine, just imagine, just imagine, that would sound like I'm leading the witness, yes? But what if I said just imagine, how would you feel if just imagine? That works, right? Or I could say, how would you feel if just imagine, how would you feel if? And what I can now do is take people on an emotional journey. I mean, just imagine where your career can be if you take everything you've learned here at the Forward event and put it into practice in your life and your business. And how would you feel if you were back here 12 months' time and that you didn't put the effort into applying the skills that you learned here at this event and that this investment wasn't worthwhile? So just imagine knowing that you're part of a community that have your back, that are working alongside you, that are going to hold you accountable and support you along the journey. Does that feel forced and canned or emotionally connected and real? These are choices. What you should be learning is the power of questions. Questions are powerful. Why? Because questions create conversations that lead to relationships that create opportunities. That's what drives sales. I repeat, questions create conversations that lead to relationships that drive opportunities. That's what creates sales. Yet I meet way too many people that say, if you give me more opportunities, then I'll create more sales. Give me more opportunities, I'll create more sales. Yet questions create conversations that build relationships that create opportunities. That's what drives sales. So you know what I say to the people that say, give me more opportunities and I'll create more sales? Give me more opportunities and I'll create more sales? What I say to them is this. I say, who are the people you need to be asking more questions of? What are the conversations that you need to be having that you're not? Where do you have relationships that hold untapped opportunities? And where have you already created opportunities that require you to show up and drive the next action? If you're wondering what to do past this event, and maybe in all the information that's been shared with you, some of you are thinking like WTF, which obviously means where to focus, then maybe just answer those 4 questions legit with a piece of paper in front of you. Who are the people you need to be asking more questions of? Not my circle, my sphere, my farm. Real names, real people. What are the conversations that you need to be having that you're not? Bring it into focus. Where do you have relationships that hold untapped opportunities? Because people say it's not what you know, but who you know. Not true. It's what you do with who you know. Where have you already created opportunities that require you to pattern interrupt to drive the next action? I bet you write a pretty meaningful to-do list. How many of you have got clients that you almost did business with in Q1 of this year that are now ghosting you? They're not ghosting you. You're just not relevant or useful. I know that sounds harsh. It's just true. They're not ghosting you. You're not relevant or useful. If you were trying to help somebody find a house in February of this year and they saw 23 properties in your neighborhood at the price point with the specifications they were looking for and offered on none of them, what do they not want to buy? A house on that criteria at that price point in that neighborhood. What are you dripping on them? Houses in that neighborhood at that price point in that specification, yet if you had an ounce of emotional intelligence, you'd know that their criteria has changed. And you don't know what it's changed to. That's an opportunity you've created that you need to pattern interrupt to find out what's new in their world, to see how you can serve them today. But you think the brief they gave you in February is the same brief that exists today? You can be certain that's not the case. And we are using automation in the face of information, and that information with application can put you into a marketplace of one. Yet most of you aren't using it because you're like, how do I find the hack and the cheat code? The cheat code is care about people. They're not prospects, they're people. Find out what's happening in those people's world, and you probably can help those people overcome some of the problems and challenges they have. But you're calling them prospects and leads. They're people. Making sense?